So we're going to go to the favorite son of Australia, Richard Saunders. Let's bring in the man himself. Former television celebrity, future bartender, current podcaster. Where is he?
Turn his video on.
Turn your video on, Richard.
You can hear my voice?
I can hear your voice, and unless you've metamorphosed into a Skype logo, we can't see your face.
I hope the camera should be working, but
Well, it's not.
There it is.
How did you manage that? We've got you sideways.
I'm down under, you're forgetting. Richard Saunders from down under.
Well, this would suggest that you're at the equator, not down under.
All right.
Okay. I wish I could say we have a way to fix that on our end, but I'm not sure we do. Do you have rotate? Oh, there you go.
There, guys.
Here, fix it. Stop being a goofball.
Yay!
All right, so what time is it right now? You're in Sydney, right?
Yeah, it's just after 5 p.m. on Friday.
Oh, 5 p.m. Where did I get... Gosh, I cannot keep it straight. You're behind in the daytime clock hours, but ahead on the day. Okay.
Listeners, the other night, I just got back from the United States. I was jet lagged to hell. I was trying to get some sleep. 1 o'clock in the morning. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, Brian didn't calculate the time zone differences.
That's true. I was in Miami Beach, which is 3 hours ahead of Oregon, where I am now. And for the first time in my life, I somehow put it in my calendar with the wrong time zones for my flights coming home. So I got to the airport a total of 5 hours earlier than I intended to, through imbecility and incompetence. And
sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I never would have predicted it.
I'm amazing discovery on my end. Even though I've got the headphones hooked up and plugged in, the sound's coming out of the phone, so I don't need them.
No, you do. Put them back on. Okay, we're gonna bring up some pictures here. Oh my gosh. Let's go to. You're gonna narrate these pictures for us. So let's go to image number 44, trunk. If we could bring that up. You and I have had many adventures together, and this was one of the earliest. Could you tell us what was going on here?
All right, that was the amazing meeting, probably 2009. We were coming back from a party, and there was just no other way. This is in Las Vegas. There was no other way for us to get from the party back to the hotel. So somebody opened up the trunk, and that was us.
The trunk or the boot? I thought this was a boot.
It's a trunk.
Okay.
If you're in the United States, it's a trunk. Where are you?
I'm in Oregon, so depending on...
All right. We call it a boot, you call it a trunk, but I spend so much time in the United States, I'm bilingual, so I'll call it a trunk.
Okay, bring up picture number 44, Vegemite. so this...
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, but remember, I'm looking at the screen here.
What TAM does that say? I think that says TAM 2012. Gosh, this is a long time ago.
That would be about right. One of the things I've done for many years is that I'll bring a jar of Vegemite along to international conventions because people are curious or they've never heard about it. And if you grow up with it, it's great. You know, you love it. You don't think much about it. But for a new taste, it's something. A lot of people can't eat it. But you can.
So this is after you were doing the you were the auctioneer, right?
Yes, for some years running at various events, I was the auctioneer. I think that could have been the first or second time I did that.
And if I recall correctly, somebody bid to identify a person in the room who had to eat a spoonful of Vegemite. And
yeah, rings a bell. It was probably about right. And I think you obviously did it. There you are. But people might be interested to know that, you and I have known each other for 12 years or something like that.
Long time.
I've regularly been bringing buckets of Vegemite from Australia.
Yep. And when I run out, I buy the same bucket on Amazon. But you just keep bringing it from Australia. I appreciate it. It's better that way if it comes straight from the source. All right, let's go to picture number 44DV. So,
Oh, wow.
this is the middle of nowhere.
Now, that's not racetrack, I don't think. Is that
No.
Stovepipe Knolls?
This
What
is
that?
Badwater.
Badwater. That's one of the lowest points in the United States, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the low. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Badwater. John, is the lowest point? Death Valley's got the lowest point in the northern hemisphere, or just the North America? I'm not sure.
I think it's North America.
I think it's just North America, because there's a lower place in South America and there's lower places in like the Middle East. So it's pretty low, but it's pretty fun.
It was pretty low, but chemical weed.
And out to the area where we're standing here is kind of a tourist sidewalk, where not a sidewalk, but a place where a lot of tourists walk, and so the salt is ground to reasonably flat surface. But if you look behind us, 10, 20 meters behind us there, you can see that it's this extremely ragged formations of, I guess mostly salt crystals, but all kinds of other minerals in there too. That's
I'm free of salt crystals. I've got a lot of memories about trip to Death Valley. On many levels, it was staggering. The scale of things in Death Valley takes on a new meaning. And what really struck me, and it's something the astronauts on the moon experience, is the inability to judge distance because of the thin atmosphere. So I was looking across vast views and mountains on the other side, and I thought, I can't judge how far it is, that mountain is away. I need a point of reference. It was scary.
You'd think you should be able to walk across there, but I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, let's go to image party.jpg, and I have no idea what this is actually from memory. Oh, there we go. Oh, this was a, I don't know what this was.
This was in the Orange County, and it was a hot tub party with Rachel Bloom.
This was when we did your Skeptics in the Tub recording for the Skeptic Zone. So yeah, we hung a Zoom microphone from the top of the hot tub and then just had skeptical conversation. So let's see. Obviously, there's me, you, and Rachel Bloom, and then there's Penny Chan, and then there's Lisa, my wife, and then there's John Rail, and that was his then girlfriend, whose last name was Brown. Jen Brown, I think?
What? A long time ago, I can't remember. What I do tell people is I've been in the hot tub with Rachel Bloom, so there you go.
Well, I tell people I've had intelligent conversation with her, but I guess our heads are in different places. Okay, let's go to image 44 bar. Boy, that seems hard to guess. This is kind of what we usually end up doing.
It's in Portland, Oregon. And that's for skeptics in their natural environment, I think. And not long after that, you and I were at Ono, Ross, and Kerry Live.
That's right. Just a couple of hours ago, we were speaking to Ross right here about that evening. And I think this is right before the show. He came over here, and we all had a quick dinner and a drink or four.
We certainly did. That was the terrific photograph. I think the bartender took that photograph.
That's right, yeah. And we had to specially request to pose in front of the bar because we felt that best depicted us, gave us the best possible representation.
Now, there's one video, I don't know if you have it or you plan to show it, which is the Death Valley gravity video.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had that. I did not bring that, though.
No, that's all right. So people around the world, if you Google Death Valley gravity, it's on YouTube. It's a video Brian and I did about whenever that trip was, 7, 8 years ago. It's had well over 1 billion views, and it's basically Brian Dunning defying gravity. It's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to make an edited version of each of the clips of the show. I will get that and insert it into the edited version of this. So we'll see that. But yeah, that was really fun. You and I have made a number of fun videos there. We've had... We've wasted a lot of good time there in Death Valley doing lots of fun stuff.
Well, we went to the racetrack, of course, the racetrack player, which was just, one of those wonderful life experiences for me. And we made one or two funny videos, just tongue-in-cheek videos out there on the playa. But my lasting memory of that was the sheer gobsmacking wonder and the biting cold. It was just an amazing place.
So now, when people ask me who's that friend of yours from Australia you're always hanging out with, I say basically we're like a bicontinental sort of mirror images of each other. We basically do the same thing. You do what I do here, and I do what you do there.
More or less. I mean, your show's 13, my show's coming up to 11. The Skeptic Zone at skepticzone.tv. They're different shows. Mine's a magazine show with reporters, interviews, that sort of stuff in bite-sized segments. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour every week, whereas yours is the concise information. And honestly, there are two podcasts that I listen to which I never miss. Never. Not one episode. Skeptoid is one, and my own one is the other. I listen to many other skeptical podcasts, but in bits and pieces, and sometimes I'll miss a few episodes here and there. But I always make sure, especially when I'm at the gym and I'm jogging along, I'm listening to Skeptoid.
Skeptoid's very big in gyms, yes. As soon as the episode ends, you can leave the gym, so people search for the shortest possible podcast to listen to.
That's right. I'm just looking over my shoulder because there are two pussycats here waiting for their dinner. You might see them at some stage.
I have no doubt. So anyway, as I started to say, since we basically do the same kind of thing, you've had a lot. You've done how many television shows have you done? Was it just the one, or did you do it? I mean, I know you've had little appearances on the news and stuff. And
yeah. Okay, so there's a part-time actor and background extra, and sometimes a featured actor. I do many, and I can't keep count. I've got a list somewhere. People spot Richard Saunders on TV here in Australia. I'll pop up as this character or that character. I played a minister of religion about 3 years ago on a very popular soap opera here called Home and Away, which was funny, because my dad was a minister of religion, so I dressed up just like my dad. It was quite a bizarre experience. But the TV show you're probably referring to, where I was a skeptical judge and I got to vote people off, kick people off.
Right.
I'm sorry, you're not that sort of stuff. That was, well, I mean, it was one show, so to speak, spread over 2 series, and I think the first series had 5 episodes, and then the second had 8 episodes, something like that.
can you give us that famous line one more time, nice and clean?
I'm sorry, you're not the one.
I remember that. That's good. He was like the Simon Cowell judge. He's like the judge who's supposed to be the big jerk. So they get the skeptic to be the big jerk, right? Isn't that right? Don't give me a face.
I didn't have to rehearse.
You didn't have to rehearse. You didn't have to dig too deep to find that character. Well, I mean, my question is broader, though. Do you think the Australian audience is more receptive? Because you spent a lot of time in the United States. Do you think the Australian audience is more receptive to skeptical programming than the U.S. audience would be?
No, I mean, I imagine it's much the same. It wasn't a skeptical show. It was a thinly veiled, thinly disguised psychic show, really. And I was the classic token skeptic on it. I did get a lot of say in the show, which was good. I think that was necessary for me to be on the show. But you know what? It's like when I'm also an educator. I do a live science show for kids based on the paranormal with our friend Maynard, for example, and Ian Byson's another friend. And it's the hook is the mystery, the unknown, the investigation. That's the hook. And in my case, it's the paranormal, which is the hook which I use to educate for science. So you mix those in any show, and I think it's got something to go for it.
Well, so after your segment here, we're going to Dr. Carl, and Dr. Carl, I mean, the audience will be introduced to him, those who don't know him already, in a minute, but he does, basically, most of his outreach is a ton of radio, and he's on the radio somewhere every day in Australia, and his radio program is basically skeptical programming, isn't it?
To an extent, science. It's popular science communication, and that often involves skepticism because they're interwoven, of course. And I've had the enormous fun of a few times visiting Dr. Carl in the studio while he's been broadcasting his show. Now, he'll do 5 or 6 shows in a hit. He'll do an hour in this state, an hour in that state via hookup, then an hour in this country, and an hour in another country via hookup. It's quite amazing. And it's a thrill to sit with him because people are firing questions at him left, right, and center over the phone line. So I'm often there with my little iPad typing like crazy, and then quickly squibbling it around saying, here's the latest research on this and that and whatever. But often he doesn't need that. Often he just knows the answer, which is just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I pointed out is because I can't remember a similar radio figure in the United States ever. I mean, there may have been, Bill Nye had his Bill Nye the Science Show guy, but that in scope doesn't remotely compare to the amount of air that Dr. Carl has gotten. And I also can't think of a show in the United States that compares to the one. Even though, as you rightly point out, the one was mainly promoting psychics. Which is the best psychic? Well, none of them. They're all fake. Well, but we're going to pick the best one anyway. So, I mean, it was, as far as being a nod to skepticism, it was definitely a token thing. But even that, I don't remember ever having that on an American TV show. So I think you got 2 examples right there.
A similar type of show, I think a few years before I did mine. I've got it somewhere in the archives. Yes, I fully admit it was a show that people who believed in psychics would love. But I had enough input to the show and enough airtime to give skeptics in the audience reason to cheer and clap, saying, "Ha, Richard said this," or "I don't believe it for a second," something like that. But in the end, of course, it was TV entertainment. And, on the plus side, I imagine many people for the first time heard about a group called the Australian Skeptics. So from that point of view, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's the, remind me the name of the kind of the consumer advocate TV show that you were doing the power balance bracelet, or was that just a news show, or was that a?
Yeah, that was it was called Today Tonight. It's more or less a tabloid current affair. They're not particularly skeptical, but they can be if that's the best story. So coming up to 10 years ago, holy mackerel, 2009, December, was when the power balance bands were very popular. Right. And I flew down to Adelaide from Sydney where they were filming the show, and I, on camera, tested the Australian distributor. And of course, I just applied a bit of basic science. That's all I had to do. I mean, I must admit, flying down there, I knew what was going on. I knew the tricks, I knew the routine, and I knew how people could be fooled and all the rest of it. So all I had to do was set up a fair test. And the results weren't surprising. What was surprising was the snowball effect that show led to. Once it was shown that these things fail a simple test, suddenly people started waking up, and I think it ended in lawsuits and the company folded. We don't see them anymore, really, these power banks. They were a fad that came and went. I think they would have gone anyway, but I was very pleased to be part of the downfall.
Yeah, that was a wonderful video. I've shown that in some of the talks I've given. I've tried to show our little skeptics in the pub groups that video because it was just a great example of I mean, if you hadn't been in the room, every single other person in the room was in full acceptance of the magical power of a rubber band around your bracelet with a hologram on it. And through a very elegant demonstration, you changed the minds of everyone except the one guy in the room.
Maybe so, but again, I had the advantage of experience and knowledge of what was going on, and I didn't come down like really like a bat out of hell saying this is rubbish, I'm going to debunk it. I said to the guy, I met him before we were filming, just in the studio, and I said, this is what we'll do. I'll give you a fair test. Is that okay? He said, great, yes, I'd love to do it. So. Yeah, the results speak for themselves. I still think to this day that guy who was promoting it really did believe in the power of the band, and he was very surprised when the test failed.
Yeah. I have a friend from volleyball who worked at the company, and she never questioned it remotely. She was in the marketing department.
That's right. You and I. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, you and I actually drove to the company and stood outside the cabin.
I'm not sure what we accomplished by doing that, but yeah, it turned out to be very close to my house.
We were both too chicken to knock on the door.
So what is coming up next? Do you have any projects in the hopper besides the Skeptic Zone podcast? Are you thinking about doing anything else?
Yeah, retiring. No, actually, my an ongoing project which has been delayed for personal reasons is that I am collating every psychic prediction made in Australia in the media, in news and print, radio, television since the year 2000 until the end of the year 2017. I had to draw a line somewhere. Originally, I thought this project would take a year and 2. Is it 3 now? I had hoped to conclude it by the end of this year, but my frequent visits to the United States are for personal reasons, which really I can't concentrate as much as I'd like to on skeptical projects. So that's okay. I'm not putting any huge pressure on myself, but I hope to have that ready, let's say next year, and it will be a comprehensive look, complete with every prediction plus my analysis and the scores of every psychic prediction made in Australia during that 17-year period, with the hopes of publishing it and putting it to TV shows and radio shows and newspapers who have these people on every Christmas or January. What's coming up in this year? Let's ask our psychic. And say, well, look, here's the results, And it's no secret to tell you that it's roughly 10%. Roughly what they say 10% of the time comes more or less true, which means roughly 90% of the time they just get wrong.
And how many predictions is this again? In the 17, do you have a number, a total?
I do. Well, no, I don't, simply because I've collated a lot I haven't catalogued. I could give you a ballpark of 2,000 to 3,000 at the moment.
Wow, that's incredible. And you've already, for most of these or all of these, you've already at least determined whether it came true or not?
Yeah, that's just the start. It's more complex than that. Some you can just say yes or no, but many you have to dive in and investigate and research, well, what really did happen? Did this person really say this? A lot of them are simply too vague. A prediction like, Nicole Kidman next year, her heart will flutter when she thinks of, there's nothing you can do with that. So it's very complex. It's far more complex than I thought. And I mentioned Nicole Kidman because so far she's the #1 subject of all predictions, followed closely by members of the royal family, I think.
Oh, interesting. Why Nicole Kidman? Why not?
Popular Aussie actress who's, usually making good movies around the world and in the headlines. A lot of these predictions revolve around celebrities. They're in magazines. People read for celebrity gossip and news and things like that.
Any off the top of your head that you can tell us that came true? That
came true? Oh, you've caught me on the hop here because there are so few
that do. How about something that didn't come true?
Okay. So every year, people will predict the death of elderly celebrities.
Oh, sure.
And
Okay.
every now and then, an elderly celebrity dies. So, I suppose. But almost every year, people will word it like this. I can see a dark cloud over Buckingham Palace as we say goodbye to a fondly loved member of the royal family. Well, nothing's happened for years and years and years. They're hanging. But one day, Her Majesty or Prince Philip, they'll pass away, and you can bet someone will jump up and say, "I predicted this."
Gosh, that suggests the fact that now you have to determine rules for, well, okay, what does a beloved member of the royal family mean? How far down the family trees and how far do we go to the cousins and everything? And you've got to decide, is this a pass or a fail? Did this come true or not?
I think, the part of the problem, it's not just as simple as yes or no. It's far from just a simple yes or no.
Wow. That's quite a project. I'm glad I'm not doing that. That's huge.
What I want to do is come up to Bend, Oregon for a month and just take over your spare room and complete the project. I'm sure you'll be happy.
Sequester yourself in the studio and get it done, huh? Well, we do offer that service. It's available. Well, and there's also beer here, which I know is the reason you came last time you were in town. But I still can't play pool. I've not been able to play pool for 5 weeks because my arm is still in the stupid thing.
I'm guaranteed to win then.
Finally, your chance has come. Well, okay.
Folks, you should be there.
So, actually, on that note, when Susan Gerbic and Mark Edward, both of who were on tonight, they were here last week to give a talk in town. And Susan Gerbic is quite the pool shark. You may not believe that to see her, but yeah, I need to see a competition between the two of you.
All right, I think that's something we should do.
Okay, you've got 60 seconds left to tell us what else is going on.
Okay, as a few guests have mentioned, we've got Skepticon in Melbourne in December, early December. Folks, go to skeptics.com.au and there are many links there. The Skeptic Zone podcast, Come Hell or High Water, is out every week at skepticzone.tv. And Brian, you're often a guest, and one day you played the part of the Bigfoot, which was quite fun.
Oh my gosh, that was fun. Yeah, I forgot about that. I actually heard a lot of feedback about that. A lot of people saw that.
Good.
And which is depressing because it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. Okay, that is a flying pig.
Flying pig.
Why have you not made a Bigfoot?
I've got my limits, Brian. Come on.
It should be pointed out that before he was involved in the whole skeptical podcasting thing, Richard wrote 2 books on origami. The number's
about
not
20.
20. Yeah, I'm kidding with the 2. No, he's quite the origami expert. Okay, well, with that, we're out of time. I thank you very much for your time, good sir. And it's great talking to you as always.
Visiting soon.
All right. So now we're going to show him up by putting on Dr. Carl.